Good morning, Knights. This week's advisory lesson is unhealthy relationships.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay, so listen. My parents are gonna be out of town this weekend. Maybe you can come over, huh?
Can't we just hang out with our friends?
Listen, we should make the most of this opportunity.
I'd rather just go on a date.
Enough waiting, okay? If you won't go, I'll find somebody else that will.
Stop, you're hurting me! Only 33% of teens in an abusive relationship told anyone about the abuse.
1 in 10 high school students has been hit, slapped, or hurt physically, purposely by a girlfriend or boyfriend.
50% of youth reporting dating violence and rape also reported attempting suicide.
57% of teens know someone who's been physically, sexually, or verbally abused in a dating relationship. Remember, Knights, if you or someone you know is in an unhealthy relationship, let a trusted teacher, administrator, or counselor know. Welcome back, Knights. I hope everyone had a great spring break. Only 11 weeks left of school, so make them count. Spring sports are up and running, so I caught up with baseball and water polo. And I'm here to preview the spring baseball season.
I think we have a pretty powerful hitting team this year, and I think it's gonna help us a lot.
Going off of what Braxton said, definitely hitting, and if our defense is solid, I think we can make it pretty far. Really last year, I wish we could have gone further. We just need to keep our head right and stay focused during the games. Expectation is to make it deep in the playoffs for sure. If we keep hitting like the way we do in preseason, we'll make it very far.
Everybody loves the game just as much as the next person. We all willing to fight for each other. I think we all really hated the way we went out last season, and it's just us trying to get back at the other teams and get as much wins as possible.
What, if any, pro baseball players you try to model yourself after?
Justin Verlander. Definitely Mike Trout.
Definitely Bryce Harper.
George Springer.
Water polo is basically like soccer in the water with a couple other aspects. It's a little more physical than soccer. There's not very many rules. I mean, there's rules, but it's hard to enforce them because everything's under the water. So it's a pretty physical game.
So really, don't drown, just gotta keep swimming. It's a lot of countering and stuff, just back and forth. You kind of compare it to soccer, just a lot of swimming, really. So my position is called set, and I'm basically in the middle in front of the goal. And my job is basically put in the net. So. Okay. Yeah. Well, the pool's 25 yards. We probably swim down and back probably about 25 times a game. So 25 times that. And so, yeah. Okay. Water polo is actually really, really fun. It's confusing, but once you start to get the rules, it's actually a really, really fun game to play.
It's a lot of fun. You need to know how to swim pretty well before you want to start playing water polo, but if you want to get into it, it's a lot of fun. we have pretty good team chemistry. Most of us have played with each other before, so we know what each other are going to do. And I'd say we're pretty good at ball handling and stuff like that.
This year especially, I feel like the team as a whole, we communicate so much better together. There's so much more better chemistry between us all, and it really shows in games. Honestly, if we keep working harder, we practice like we are, I'm feeling regionals and then hopefully state.
Don't forget, if you want to take an AP exam, the registration deadline is this Thursday. No exceptions. And now here's KJ with a look at what the library is featuring this month.
Hey Knights, I'm KJ. We're about to go inside the library and check out some new books for the upcoming month of March. Tell me about the new books that are coming out in the month of March.
So March is Women's History Month, and we focused a display on women authors that have written a variety of different type of books. We've got The Tyranny of Petticoats, which is a collection of short stories, historical fiction, and fantasy. We have the very, very popular and quite edgy Ellen Hopkins, The You I've Never Known. It's about a young lady who's at the age of 17 told by her mother that her father abducted her 14 years ago. We have the memoir about the notorious Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and in this Time's Up moment, this is a quite timely book. We've got When Dimple Meets Rishi, and this is a book about an American Indians, not Native American Indians, but Indian Americans, and there's a prearranged marriage, and she wants to have nothing to do with him, and it's the story of whether or not they meet and how amenable to a prearranged relationship she is as a modern Indian American woman. And then finally, we have this new book by Lauren Oliver. She's quite popular. It's called Replica is the title, and it's the story of two different girls. Lyra reads this way, you flip the book over, and you read about Gemma this direction. So it's a very interesting, and we don't have very many books at this level that have two different points of view that are physically separated in the book like this one is.
In your opinion, which would be your favorite book?
Probably When Dimple Meets Rishi, because I don't know much about the Indian American culture, and it was quite an eye-opening experience to see a young, modern version of it.
The Purple Piggy Project collects money for polio in countries where polio still exists. So for every $1 that someone donates, they get a purple pinky, and a child is vaccinated in a country that still has polio.
Knights, this is your chance to pay tribute to the 17 people who lost their lives at Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Over the next few weeks, you'll have a chance to give your input on ways to spread compassion to your fellow students. We'll have more information in the upcoming advisories. We end our show with a look at our very own Maddie Anderson, who not only is an all-state soccer player, but also kicked for our football team last season. Here it is.
Yeah, she's tough.
She's at the top in the top level of U.S. youth soccer.
We found out in the spring that Maddie was interested in kicking. Actually, Coach Forrest came to me and had told me that she was interested in possibly kicking for us, being a field goal extra point kicker for us. And so, I was definitely open to the idea. I've actually coached places before where we've had girls on the team, and I'm certainly open to it. And I knew she had a lot of talent. And certainly after watching her kick a little bit during the soccer athletic period, we could tell that she could definitely do some good things kicking the football. And so we were all for her playing and spoke with her parents and kind of let them know how it would work with her being involved in football. And they were on board, and so we were excited to have her.
When we were at practice one day and I was just messing around with my teammates, we were playing football because it was in the off season, and Coach Forrest comes up to me and he's like, "Hey Maddie, go kick this field goal." So my teammate set the football down and I kicked it and it went in, and when I turned around, Coach Head is watching, so I kind of got the hint that they might want me to play football, and I was really excited because it was always been a dream of mine, but I've never really thought of actually pursuing it.
I went to Coach Ed and told him that we had a couple of kids that were interested in having a go, and Coach Ed asked, "Hey man, you want to come and work with them?" I said, "Absolutely, I'll be happy to." And so we had a couple of those kids come out.
We started her off in soccer when she was 4, and that was because we would drag her to her brother's soccer games when he was a kid. She's just always really had a knack for anything athletic, anything sport-wise, but she really gravitated towards soccer, and it became apparent very quickly that this was something she really wanted to focus on for herself.
And she's just naturally good at anything that she does, and she has such an empathetic soul, and is very mindful of others and her team and teammates, and it's just been awesome to watch her in all these different things. She's played soccer, boys baseball, that didn't faze her, football, soccer in many different aspects.
She wanted to try wrestling at one point, but we actually had to stop at some point, pick a couple sports.
Yeah, but she wants to do it all if she can.
Well, for my soccer coaches, they were surprised. Even at club soccer, they were really surprised, and they were kind of scared for me to see would I get hurt or would it be okay. But all the coaches were just very supportive. I want to thank all the players and the coaches for just being very supportive and not being mean to me and just helping me through this. And it was amazing, just a great experience with all the guys.
Other people emailed me or called me and said, "What are you thinking, man?" Because she's such a valuable component to what we do on the soccer field. But again, I mean, you can get hurt doing anything, and she's a very good athlete. To me, there wasn't any greater risk for her to go out there and perform than anybody else.
We wanted her to be a kid and experience this, football, experience life, and we kind of just gave it up to God and put it in His hands.
I mean, who wouldn't be scared of a 200-pound guy coming at you? But after just the first kick, I wasn't scared anymore because I had a great defensive line that just blocked all the guys from getting to me.
And that's one of the reasons we didn't make her a kickoff kicker for us, because there is an opportunity where she might have to make a tackle, might get blocked. Kicking extra points and field goals, we knew the chances were pretty slim of her ever actually being in a situation where she might get hit and potentially get hurt.
Our team for the girls soccer team here at Clear Falls High School, we don't have superstars. Everybody has a role, and they accept their role, and they perform their role to the best of their ability on the team as a teammate, as a team member, and we do a really good job of trying to take the individual out of that equation. And so with her having the ability that she does in the goal, it's very unique to see a kid accept that readily and be humble and perform for your team to the best of your ability without expecting to be viewed as a superstar.
I can see myself a little as a role model, because what I'll try to do is teach girls don't be afraid to try new things. Just don't worry about what other people say. Just do what you want to do. Don't have anybody stop you. The 6-year-old girl comes up to me and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I went to every one of your games. You're so awesome. I want to be like you." And it was just so sweet to see. I've never seen that before, so it was really sweet to see her.
It was so funny because that whole day I was so excited, to be able to go and watch her, and had no idea if she'd actually play in the game or not, but I was just amped up all day, and I just kept asking Steve, "Are you excited? Are you excited?" And he just was even keel all day, and it didn't really faze him. And I remember sitting in the stands, and it was a while into the game, and then she finally got an opportunity, and she ran out there, and I looked over at Steve, and that's when it, I think, kind of got him.
Yeah, it did. I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. I was like, oh, this is actually going to happen. Please, Lord, let her make it. Just the first one.
When Coach Forrest pointed at me, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening. I was scared. I didn't want to miss for my team, and I didn't want to screw up anything. And so as I was walking out there, I was shaking, and before the whistle I was shaking, and then finally when it started I just went through the motions and shut everything out. And when I kicked it and went in, I was so happy, and all the boys just came up to me and gave me high fives. They were just awesome.